people, today's video is going to be all about potty training. Yeah. Oh, there's so many things I want to say, I can't keep them together. Yada 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 yada. Not a day. What am I saying? So I used to make these videos all the time, like tips and tricks about motherhood and parenting and all that kind of stuff. And then it hit me one day. I was like, I know nothing about parenting. And just when I think I figured it out, just when I think I'm like, oh, I've got this down, like I know all about that, my kids, they just pull something out of their hat and they're like, ha ha ha, you don't know anything. And they just, completely put down what I think I know, and they throw me a curveball, and I'm like, I don't know anything. So I kind of stopped filming these videos because I was like, I don't know anything about anything. But I have successfully potty trained 2 of my darlings by the time they were 18 months. So I figure maybe I know a thing or 2 about potty training. And the tips that I use, the things that I do, I haven't heard anyone else talk about. So I thought that I would share these wonderful tips with you. So I have narrowed it down to 5 tips for you. I think 5. If I maybe talk a little more during this video, I apologize / don't apologize because I can't help myself. Tip number 1 is to buy the right potties. When I started potty training my now 5-year-old, way back in the day, I was like, oh, look at this $40 fancy princess potty. It flushes and it makes a noise and there's 7 different parts to it. No, that thing is miserable to clean. I'm telling you, absolutely miserable. So what I found instead was this $4 potty at IKEA. It's so simple to clean. There's nothing to deal with. So it's so simple. Tip number 2, put potties in every bathroom. So we have 2 stories, 3 bathrooms. So we have potties upstairs and potties downstairs because you never know when they're gonna go. And what I like to do, which I'll explain more later, is when I'm going to the potty, of course, the little feet follow you right in. You can't keep them away. So that's a prime opportunity to have them go potty with you. So if there's a potty there, it makes it all easy. Tip number 3, rewards. So before I started potty training my kids, a lot of people told me, oh, give them an M&M, give them a treat, pick out some kind of candy for them. I don't think so. Because 1, I don't need that kind of temptation in my life because I know if I'm buying a bag of M&Ms to give them one every time they go potty, the bag is not going to last more than 1 day because I'm going to get a hold of it and eat them all. So I didn't want that in my house. I also didn't want them associating food with going potty. I don't know. So what I did instead was rewarded them with positive reinforcement. I encouraged them by saying, oh, good job, you went to the potty, that's fantastic. I didn't overly do it to the point where they're like, why is she crazy and so excited that I went potty? But I was like, yes, you went to the bathroom on the potty, fantastic job. And we also have a potty song. If you ever watched Full House when you were younger, and they're rebooting it now, Fuller House, I'm beyond excited for it. But if you ever watched it way back in the day, Stephanie taught Michelle this song. It's a big girl song, and that's what we have sung for the 5 years that I've been potty training. Every time one of my daughters goes potty, we do the big girl song, and this is how it goes. Go. So that's what we sing every time we go potty. It's a little embarrassing when you're in a public restroom, but we get over it. And most of the time, people think it's super cute. So we really enjoy that. They enjoy it because they're like, ooh, a song and dance because I went potty. So that's our reward. Also, another thing you can try is maybe toys. Go to the dollar section at Target, pick out some toys that you think they will enjoy, put them in a basket, or if you don't even want to spend money, pick out little trinket toys around your house, put them in a basket, because I don't know about you, but my kids, they have a million toys all over the house. So if I picked up a bunch and put them in a tiny little basket, they'd be like, oh, look at that toy. I get to have that because I went potty. So that's another trick for you if you don't want to do the candy / ridiculous song idea. Tip number 4 is to cloth diaper. I know this doesn't fit everyone's lifestyle, and I know some people think it's absolutely nasty, but for us, we cloth diaper. We think it's good for the environment, good for baby, whatever. So that's what we do, we cloth diaper, and there have been studies that have been done that state that kids who are cloth diapered, they potty train faster. I don't know if it's because most of the time when there is a child who is cloth diapered, one of the parents is a stay-at-home parent. So they have obviously more time to concentrate on potty training the child. So it could be that, or it could be because when they sit in a cloth diaper, they can feel it more than maybe a disposable diaper. I don't know, but that's what we do. And for me, it's like motivation to potty train them, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to do, loads and loads of diaper laundry until they're 3 years old. So we potty train early because I don't like to do unnecessary laundry. Tip number 5 is to start early. So this is the part of my tips that I haven't really heard from anyone else, suggesting when I was first started potty training. I never heard anyone say, oh, start super early. Like, we don't do the whole elimination communication thing. I don't breastfeed and have a little potty for them to be on. I don't believe in that. But what I did do was start potty training. I think with my first, I started when she was 1. That's when I bought the $40 potty. And I was like, oh, look, here's a potty. Didn't make a big deal out of it. And I just stuck it in the bathroom. And I was like, okay. And whenever I would go to the bathroom, she would, of course, follow me there, because you can't go to the bathroom without children following you. So I would say, okay, why don't you try to go potty and I'll try it. And that was just the introduction to the potty. I start potty training when I first noticed them sleeping through the night and waking up dry. A couple of reasons for this. One, I noticed with my second, I would wake up, she would wake up dry, I would, 5 minutes later she'd be sopping wet, so I would change her diaper. 2 minutes later, she would be sopping wet again. I would change her diaper and I'd be like, I am wasting so many diapers doing this. I'm done. So when I noticed that she was sleeping through the night and waking up dry, I said, okay, I'm going to sit her on the potty in the morning. That's exactly what I did. I did it with my first when she was like 12, 13 months. I did it with my second when she was like 9, 10 months old. She was waking up dry, so I was like, okay. And she could walk. My 9, 10-month-old, she could walk, so it wasn't like she was crawling to the potty. So we would wake up, I would put her on the potty whilst I was going potty, and that's when she started figuring out, okay, I'm gonna go. And honestly, she went the first time I put her on the potty, because it's just the urge of your body saying, I'm awake, now I need to use the potty. And then I was like, great, I'm saving at least 2 diapers, 1 or 2 diapers in the morning, just by putting her on the potty in the morning time, which was fantastic. And then throughout the day, as time went on and she got used to, okay, I'm going to wake up and use the potty on my big girl potty, as a little bit of time went on, maybe a month or so, I started having her try to use the bathroom during the day. Maybe once or twice during the day, when I would use the restroom, I would put her on the potty as well. So, and then eventually she got the hang of, oh, this is where I'm gonna go potty now. So that was nice. And all this time she's still in diapers. I didn't buy underwear or anything like that. She's still in diapers. Whenever I would go to the potty, I would take it all off, sit her on, and then put it back on. And that was also great, because every time she went, I was like, yes, I'm saving diapers. I don't want to do 17 loads of laundry. So, and after that, as time progressed, I would keep putting her on the potty. It wasn't like a time limit. It was just like, oh, if I'm going, I'm going to bring you with me. And then a little bit later after that, as she got a little bit older, maybe 14 or so months, 13, 14 months, I would watch her for signs. So right before, when your child has to go potty, they make certain movements or they stop playing or something. So notice the signs that your child is exuding, and that's when you're like, hey, do you have to potty? And then they'll be like, do I have to potty? And then bring them to the potty. Most of the time they do, sometimes they don't. And then eventually I introduced panties. During the day I introduced panties, and maybe when they're 15, 16 months old, 16, 17 months old, introduce panties. When they're going to the potty enough times during the day where you're like, hey, you're staying pretty dry in your diaper, let's introduce some panties. I didn't make that a big deal either. I was just like, hey, let's go to the store. You can pick out what you like, and these are your big girl panties. So she really enjoyed that aspect of the whole hey, I get to wear big panties like my big sister wears panties. And of course, while she was wearing panties, sometimes she had accidents. This is just normal behavior. It doesn't matter if you're training a 15-month-old or a 2.5-year-old. They're gonna have accidents when they're learning how to use the potty. So I never scolded her for having an accident. I was just like, oh, you had an accident, let's clean it up, but this is where we go potty. Just to reinforce, the potty is where you go pee-pee and poo-poo. Another big challenge we had was number 2 on the potty. I don't know if it's because a developmental thing, if it's harder for them to go poo-poo on the potty, or if they just don't want to sit there for that long going on the potty. But what I did was obviously watch for signs. I also noticed certain times of the day where my daughter would have to use the restroom and go number 2. So I'd be like, okay, let's sit on the potty just for like a couple of minutes. And if she did, great. If she didn't, oh well. And I also noticed when my daughter did have to go number 2, sometimes she would freeze up like this, like as it's coming out, and be like, Mommy, I have to potty, which obviously she couldn't speak that well when she was 15 months old, but she would say, potty, potty. And also, this is the sign for potty, so you can teach your child that, and they'll be able to tell you, like, hey, I need to potty, you know? So super simple tips. It happened really fast for us. I successfully potty trained my first by the time she was 8 months old. 8 months old, seriously? No, I didn't. 18 months old, and my second around the same time, maybe a little earlier. She did have a little trouble with number 2, so maybe, 18, 19 months old, she was completely, like, no accidents. Maybe when she was 15, 16, 17 months old, she would have, like, 1 accident a week, which isn't really a big deal in comparison to everything else. So, and most of the time it was number 2. So we had to deal with, okay, like, this is where you go, and it's okay to sit here for a couple of minutes. So those are my tips. I hope I can help you out. I've also heard that boys potty train later, so maybe I've just been super lucky that I've had 2 girls that have been really eager to use the potty, and they haven't fought me on it. It's never been a big issue for us, so I'm just super thankful that I haven't had to deal with diapers for very long at all. But whenever I go somewhere and my friends are like, wait, like, she's in panties already? Like, what did you do? So I figured I would share the tips with you, and I hope that they helped. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you around, and I will see you next time. Bye. Did I say everything I wanted to say? Probably not. Did any of that make sense? If you're trying to potty train your child, good luck to you. I know sometimes it may seem like a struggle and it will never happen, but I promise you they're not going to go to college and still be pooping the pants. Maybe. I don't know, maybe. I got the talk yesterday about how I didn't put a Z-bar or a granola bar in her lunch yesterday, so how dare I?